On the news, Dangote raises petrol price to 955 naira from 899 naira per litre for bulk buyers. Appeal Court declares Julius Abure remains Labour Party National Chairman. And Lagos Assembly elects new principal officers. It's a pleasure to have you join News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Joy Uchejim. Petrol prices are going back up in Nigeria as the Dangote Petroleum Refinery has communicated an upward adjustment in the price of its premium motor spirits to its customers. In an email statement released on Friday, the refinery announced that its refined products will now be priced at 955 naira per litre at the loading gantry, marking an adjustment in its pricing structure. It noted that marketers buying between 2 million to 4.99 million litres will now buy at 955 naira per litre, while 5 million litres and above will buy at 950 naira per litre. The amount marks an increase of 55.5 naira or 6.17% from the 899.50 naira per litre announced to Nigerians in December 2024. The decision follows rising prices of crude in the global oil market. What this then means is that henceforth, Nigerians will have to pay more for a litre of petrol. Before this latest adjustment, a litre of petrol had sold for as low as 935 naira at petrol stations supplied directly by the Dangote refinery, while NNPC retail outlets are still selling for 925 naira per litre of petrol as the state-owned oil firm is yet to adjust its pricing template. And the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission will on Monday arraign the chairman, Honeywell Group Oba Otodeko, over an alleged 12.3 billion naira fraud. The suit also names a former managing director of First Bank, Olabisi Onosoya, a former Honeywell board member, Soji Akintayo, and Anchorage Leisure Limited as defendants. The anti-graft agency filed 13 charges against the defendants at the Federal High Court in Lagos, bordering on fraud and forgery, among others. The EFCC accused the defendants of obtaining 6.2 billion naira from First Bank Limited on the pretense that the said sum represented credit facilities applied for and disbursed to Stallion Nigeria Limited between 2013 and 2014 in Lagos, but the claim was false. And the Court of Appeal in Abuja has reiterated that Julius Abure remains the national chairman of the Labour Party. A three-member panel of the Appellate Court in a judgment delivered by Justice Hama Barka held that its judgment of November 13, 2024, which recognizes Abure as national chairman, subsists and has not been set aside by any court. Justice Barka made the declaration while delivering judgment in two separate appeals filed by Senator Esther Nenadi Usman and the Caretaker Committee and the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). The Appellate Court in the two separate appeals held that it did not delve into the issue of the leadership of the Labour Party because such issues are not justifiable. And in Lagos, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Mojisola Meranda, has pledged to work with other arms of government in the state to achieve a greater Lagos. Miranda, who took her first duty as Speaker on Friday, appointed new principal officers that would join in championing the affairs of the House. Temitope Adedeji, representing Ifako-Jaye 1, was announced as the majority leader of the House, while Richard Kasumu, representing Ikeja 2, was made the deputy majority leader. The Speaker also announced the members of the selection committee and will chair it. In her address, Miranda appreciated her colleagues for the confidence reposed on her to serve as the Speaker of the 10th Assembly. And the reactions continue to trail the impeachment of former Lagos State House of Assembly Speaker and longest-serving member Mudashiru Obasa. Political analyst Taiwo Olakwade, speaking exclusively to TV360, criticized Obasa's actions during Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's recent budget presentation, calling them unnecessary. Olakwade noted that while Obasa has the right to declare his intention to contest for the governorship, the manner and timing of his announcement were inappropriate, reflecting overconfidence. Olakbade further questioned whether Obasa, currently on vacation, would return to challenge the impeachment in court, as some analysts argue that the House lacks the authority to impeach him in his absence. He added that regardless of legal battles, it will be highly unlikely for Obasa to secure the APC's gubernatorial ticket in the next election, given the controversies surrounding his impeachment.
I want to say his impeachment has really cut short that ambition of either contesting, not to talk of winning the ticket of the All Progressive Congress come 2027, because I'm not sure how somebody who has been impeached at that level of political hierarchy will come back, will stage a comeback and win the party's ticket. It will be it will be another wonder, another wonder of another century. And again, what should we even be talking about is, when is he going to return from his vacation in Atlanta in the US? And is he coming back to also report back to the House of Assembly?
But that's
he's coming back to want to go to court to challenge his impeachment. But I've also listened to some conversation that how come that he was impeached without his presence, without his being around in the State House of Assembly, that that impeachment is null and void. I've listened to some lawyers, I've listened to some political analysts saying that Obasa has the right because it was not given a fair
hearing. Do you think he might go to court to challenge this?
Well, that is not that's not impossible, because some people are saying that the man was not given a fair hearing. That how can you barb somebody's head behind his back? But for me, I predict that I don't see the former speaker Mudashiru Obasa, number one, returning back to the Lagos State House of Assembly to take a back seat. I recall that when we returned to democratic rule in 1999, we had Olorunniyi Mamora as the first speaker, 1999 to 2003. Then Joko Tola Pelumi, succeeded him. Joko Tola Pelumi was only speaker for almost about 2 years, between 2003 to 2005. Joko Tola Pelumi, when he was impeached in December, I remember, in 2005, Right Honorable Adeyemi Ikuforeji was elected both from Ekpe constituency 1 and Ekpe constituency 2. But Joko Tola Pelumi still, he was able to overcome the, I don't want to say shame this time around. He completed his tenure. But I don't see in this circumstance of Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, I don't. So
you don't see him resuming in the House as an ordinary member?
I don't see him coming back, resuming as ordinary floor member and take a back seat in this same Lagos State House of Assembly.
And the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has said that the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano dual carriageway will be ready for use in 14 months. Idris made this known at the inauguration of the rehabilitation of Section 1 of the road rigid pavement on Thursday. While Section 1 of the road is from Abuja to Kaduna, Section 2 is from Kaduna to Zaria, and Section 3 is from Zaria to Kano. The description and scope of works includes scarification and pulverization of existing bituminous surface as salt-based material and filling of embankments. And the National Bureau of Statistics website is back online after being offline for 4 weeks following a cyber attack on December 18, 2024. The restoration comes just in time for the release of the December inflation report, which shows that Nigeria's headline inflation rate rose to 34.80%, up from 33.60% in November 2024. The NBS website serves as a critical platform for national data, making its return a significant development for policymakers, analysts, and the public. Speaking on the matter, economist Segun Sokwiton assured Nigerians that the cyber attack did not compromise the integrity of data stored in the NBS archives. However, he expressed concern over the agency's revised methodology, citing the reported 4.1% unemployment rate for the first quarter of 2023 as unrealistic and unreflective of Nigeria's economic realities.
There are standard security protocols that are typically in place for large data banks like that of the NBS. I don't think that that compromise would have affected the data, that they have stored, or the numbers that they are holding, in their archives. I don't think that's a problem. But what I do see as a problem, talking about whether Nigerians can rely on the numbers from the NBS, is this new apparent tendency or trend to want to manipulate the figures by the NBS itself. And that's very, very disturbing. And it's something that we have to call out. And it's something we have to demand stops. Last year, the NBS revised the methodology it adopts for computation of unemployment or computation of employment, adopted a protocol that is extremely unrealistic and does not speak to our local context of Nigeria, and left us saying that unemployment dropped from 33% as at that time to 5%. In fact, I think the last number they released was 4-something%. That is as ridiculous as it can get in terms of data manipulation. The data from the NBS on unemployment doesn't speak to the reality on ground. And what you found now is that people are ignoring it. So consumers of data, policymakers, investment analysts, they are no longer relying on that unemployment number for Nigeria because they know it's not true.
And the World Bank has projected 3.6% average economic growth for the Nigerian economy between 2025 and 2026, following ongoing reforms by the federal government. The Global Bank stated this in its report, Global Economic Prospects, January 2025, published on Thursday. It added that recent reforms by the federal government helped to boost business confidence. Profound among the economic reforms by the Nigerian government has been the removal of fuel subsidies and controversial tax bills. And Nigeria is taking significant steps to address its grey listing by the Financial Action Task Force and improve its global financial reputation. This was announced at the launching of the Project Exit in Abuja. The Nigerian government says it is now leveraging technology, including artificial intelligence, to tackle illicit financial flows and strengthen its anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism efforts. Our correspondent Emeka Amakor gives us more details in this next report.
The Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, Kashifu Inuwa, has announced Nigerians' intention to utilize artificial intelligence and advanced technologies to improve its capacity to detect and prevent crimes such as money laundering, tax evasion, and corruption. Speaking at the launch of the Project Exit in Abuja, Inuwa explained that the initiative involves the development and implementation of a robust anti-money laundering, combating the financing of terrorism, and countering proliferation financing data management platform for the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit.
It will help in improving our national security, because when we build financial intelligence, we will be able to see any financial transaction in Nigeria. We will be able to track any illicit financial flow, as well as it will help us and empower us to highlight or identify and maybe disrupt any criminal networks in the financial sector, as well as to help us build or strengthen our law enforcement, and as well as strengthen our economy in general.
The meeting marks another step in the federal government's efforts to remove Nigeria from the FATF grey list, where it was placed on February 24, 2023, due to deficiency in its anti-money laundering and terrorism financing regime.
We are calling upon all Nigerians to support us, not just exiting the grey list, but sustaining the gains that we have made from the grey list. The grey list is not just a one-off project, it's a continuous project. The next cycle of evaluation will be done in the year 2027, and we don't want a situation where exiting from the grey list another evaluation is conducted by the FATF, and we find ourselves back on the grey list again. So this is why we have decided that the use of technology will give credibility to every statistics that we have, not just to our domestic stakeholders, but also to our international partners. Everything should be done in real time and accessible, credible and factual, and that is the project that we are doing today.
First thing first, no matter what you want to do, you have to appropriate money, okay? And the National Assembly have the power to appropriate money. We are going to make sure that the right funding is put in place for this project, without any doubt. And secondly, we're also going to make sure that if there are any laws in the country today that is going to impede or put a stumbling block before what this project stands to achieve, because this project have milestones, we have to go and amend those laws. And if there are things that require executive orders so that we can quickly move forward, yes, we will do whatever needs to be done. So definitely just to show the cooperation from the leadership of Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas that we mean business, and we are going to do just that.
However, nearly 2 years later, the gaps identified in Nigerian Mutual Evolution Report, particularly in data availability and quality, remain significant challenges. Despite these challenges, stakeholders stress that initiatives like Project Exit will empower the NFIU and other agencies to address key deficiencies and ensure compliance with global standards.
We'll take a break here, but coming up on News Now, release of Gaza hostages to begin on Sunday. Stay with us for details. Welcome back. Here's a recap of our top stories. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery has communicated an upward adjustment in the price of premium multi-spirits, also known as petrol, to its customers. In an email statement released on Friday, the refinery announced that its refined products will now be priced at 955 naira per litre at the loading gantry, marking an adjustment in its pricing structure. It noted that marketers buying between 2 million to 4.99 million litres will now buy at 955 naira per litre, while 5 million litres and above will buy at 950 naira per litre. We also informed you that the Court of Appeal Abuja has reiterated that Julius Abure remains the national chairman of the Labour Party. A three-member panel of the Appellate Court in a judgment delivered by Justice Hama Barker held that its judgment of November 13, 2024, which recognizes Abure as national chairman, subsists and has not been set aside by any court. Justice Barker made the declaration while delivering judgment in two separate appeals filed by Senator Esther Nenadi Usman and the Caretaker Committee and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. And in case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV and AVO TV. You can also follow us on our social media handles on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter at TV360 Nigeria. Or you can follow us on our social media platforms at TV360 Nigeria or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery, and Apple Store. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. And it's now time for business news. Victoria Akonde is on standby. What's the latest, Victoria?
Well, Joy, the president of the Nigeria Economic Society, NES, Professor Adeola Adenikinju, has said that cash transfers to vulnerable Nigerians and increased capital spending are the best strategies for tackling poverty and unemployment in Nigeria. Adenikinju made these recommendations during an interactive session by the Senate Committee on Appropriation on the proposed 2025 budget. While analyzing the 2025 budget, he advised the government to adopt a conservative approach to budgeting, stressing the importance of capital spending to create jobs and drive economic growth. On his part, the chairman of the Appropriation Committee, Senator Adeola Olamilekun, acknowledged the ambitious nature of the budget, but expressed confidence in Tinubu's strategy to address Nigeria's revenue challenges.
Now, we did a quick walk, and assume that for every $10 billion naira you have, you can generate one job, direct or indirect. And we see that if you use that and apply that to the economy, the 2025 budget is capable of generating about 1.3 million jobs. And if we focus just on sectors that can drive growth, that are employment generating, we can generate from this economy, based on the capital spending for 2025, about 690,000 jobs.
The Appropriation Committee will engage the relevant MDAs and other stakeholders to determine the visibility or otherwise of this assumption. Where this economic assumption are retained in 2025 budget, we will follow up critically with relevant MDAs or ERN in ensuring that these assumptions are realized for effective implementation of 2025 budget. In 2025 proposal, the aggregate revenue of fund, the budget is projected at 36.35 trillion. Aggregate expenditure is projected at 49.74 trillion, while the budget deficit of 13.38 trillion is as part of the assumption.
Within every challenge lies the opportunity of progress and growth. The task before us is very formidable, but it is neither beyond our reach or beneath our determination. This budget of restoring this nation, is a beacon of hope.
Still on business, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ekperike Eko, has disclosed that the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority and the Presidential Committee on CNG Initiatives are working on measures to prevent future explosions. He made this known while presenting the ministry's 2025 budget of 4.25 billion naira to the National Assembly Joint Committee on Petroleum Upstream. During the session, lawmakers inquired about the percentage of Nigerians currently benefiting from the compressed natural gas program. Senator Natasha Akpoti emphasized the importance of prioritizing safety in the CNG process, citing recent reports of explosions.
In your collaboration with stakeholders for the conversion of vehicles to dual fuel or to LPG CNG, how much impact do you think you have been able to make in terms of percentage on Nigerians? And of course, how much collaboration and cooperation, how much are you leveraging on the collaboration and cooperation of honorable members?
I need to know, are you actually right now conducting the adaptability of the CNG project to Nigeria? Or we just see what happens in China, see what happens in America and think, bam, it can also work in Nigeria. We must be careful in localizing ideas that we see going on in other countries, because that could not work well, or even if it could work well, our infrastructure does not presently support it. Or maybe we could also take into consideration the fact that our roads need to be fixed so that we would avoid the bumpiness, on the roads. And then we'll also look into consideration the climate, which pretty much we have no right to control that.
As Africans, we have agreed that, look, first of all, let us explore the resources we have, both oil and gas, to first of all get energy security before we talk about transition. After all, we are victims. We are not culprits. The emissions we're talking about, if out of 100% emissions, we as a continent constitute only 3%. When one country in Europe, UK, constitute 4.8%. It would be wrong for us to be talking about energy transition when we don't even have energy security. So our preoccupation now as a country is to see how we can get energy security, first of all, to industrialize, create jobs for our people, and live like normal beings. For, you know, this transition means different things for different people.
Right now, we'll go on a short break and be back with stock market updates. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's the final trading day of the week and the Nigeria equities market ended on a positive note, increasing by 0.17%, bringing the market capitalization to 62.43 trillion naira. In the aggregate, 128 NGX listed equities participated in trading, ending with 34 gainers and 23 losers. Livestock feeds led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 5 naira 94 kobo per share, followed closely by Caviton Offshore Support Group. At the end of the last weekday of trading, over 327 million shares were traded in 11,905 deals, corresponding to a market value exceeding 11 billion naira. And when this is compared with the previous NGX trading day, which is Thursday, the 16th of January, today's data shows 30% decline in volume, 20% decline in turnover, and 3% decline in deals. Now, switching over to the global scene, it's a similar case for the UK FTSE and the US Dow Jones as they ended on the positive note. However, Japan's Nikkei bucked the trend, ending in bearish territory. Now, on the foreign exchange market, the naira traded at 1,680 naira to the dollar on the black market, at 2,080 naira to the pounds, and at 1,700 naira to the euro on the black market. That wraps up our business and stock market update. Over to you, Joy, for the rest of the news.
And thank you, Victoria. And on the foreign scene, the release of hostages held in Gaza since Hamas's October 7, 2023 attack on Israel is set to begin on Sunday, according to an announcement from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office on Friday. As part of the initial 42-day phase of the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas, 33 hostages will be freed in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners, as confirmed by mediators and officials from both sides. According to reports, the first group of hostages to be released will include 3 Israeli women soldiers. However, since Hamas considers any Israeli of military age who has completed mandatory service as a soldier, this could also encompass civilians who were abducted during the attack that led to the war. And the Pakistani court has convicted former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi in a landmark graft case, sentencing Khan to 14 years in prison. Khan, who has been held in custody since August 2023, was charged with around 200 cases, but his party, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, claimed the latest conviction was being used to pressure him into silence. The anti-graft court convened in the jail near the capital Ismailabad, where Khan is being held, and convicted him and his wife over a welfare foundation they established together, the Al-Qadar Trust. And on sports, Erling Haaland has signed a new 9.5-year deal at Manchester City that will keep him at the Etihad until 2034, the Premier League champions announced on Friday. The 24-year-old striker's existing deal was due to expire in June 2027, but he has now committed his future to the club for the next decade. The Norwegian joined City from Borussia Dortmund in 2022 and has scored 111 goals in 126 games for the club. And two-time Australian Open champion Naomi Osaka retired due to injury during her third-round match against Belinda Bencic on Friday in Melbourne. Osaka received treatment on her stomach at 6-5 in the first set, which she ultimately lost in a tiebreak to her Swiss opponent. Shortly after, Osaka shook hands with Bencic and left the court. The Japanese star had a challenging lead-up to the first Grand Slam of the year, having retired from the Auckland final due to an abdominal injury. And that's our bulletin on News Now. Many thanks for watching. I am Joy Uchejim. See you next time.